Hi, this is Ajay Anand and welcome to Science Classes from excelup.com. In this lesson, you will learn about secondary growth in plants, and this lesson has been taken from class 11th biology. So there are two types of growth in plants. One is called primary growth and another is called secondary growth. The growth in length or longitudinal growth in a stem and roots is called primary growth. And the tissue responsible for primary growth is apical meristem. Okay. After a certain level of primary growth in dicot plants, secondary growth takes place, and the growth in diameter or girth is called secondary growth. It is important to remember that in most of the monocot plants, secondary growth does not take place. And the tissue which is responsible for secondary growth is lateral meristem. There are two types of lateral meristem. Number one is vascular bundle and number two is cork cambium. Before the secondary growth begins, formation of cambial ring takes place. So here I will be discussing secondary growth in dicot stem, and the secondary growth in dicot root is more or less similar with minor differences. Okay. This figure shows the transverse section of a young stem. So these are vascular bundles and these are cambiums inside vascular bundles. So since the cambium is inside vascular bundle, this is called intrafascicular cambium. In between the vascular bundles, there are bands of parenchyma, and these bands they are called medullary rage. So what happens? The medullary rage, it becomes meristematic. So the cells they begin to divide, and after cell division, there is the formation of cambium between the vascular bundles. So the cambium between the vascular bundles is called interfascicular cambium. So what happens? The intrafascicular cambium and interfascicular cambium, they together make a ring, and this ring is called cambial ring or cambium ring. And the cambium ring, now this will facilitate the secondary growth, that is formation of secondary vascular bundle in a stem. The cambium ring, it produces secondary xylem towards the pith, that is towards the center, and produces secondary phloem towards the periphery. Okay. The activity of cambial ring is greater towards the pith compared to towards the periphery. So the secondary xylem is produced in much greater number compared to secondary phloem, and a time comes when too much production of secondary xylem, it results in primary phloem and secondary phloem getting crushed gradually. So there will be lesser number of secondary phloem and primary phloem in a mature stem. Okay. So this is the transverse section of a stem in which secondary growth has already taken place. So there are various concentric rings, various layers. So at the center is the pith. These are primary xylems. I have labeled them 1, 2, 3 and 4 different layers. So number 1 is secondary xylem, number 2 is cambium ring, number 3 is secondary phloem. So this shows that the cambium ring, it gives off secondary xylem towards the pith and gives off secondary phloem towards the periphery. And after that comes number 4 and number 5. So number 4 is phelogen and number 5 is phloem. So I will discuss about it when I will discuss the cork cambium. Okay. In between the cambial ring and secondary phloem, narrow bands of parenchyma they are also formed, and these bands they are called secondary medullary rage. Okay. So that is all about the secondary growth in dicot stem. Spring wood and autumn wood. What happens? That the secondary growth in plants is dependent on various environmental factors. And especially in tropical climates, seasons they change. So climatic conditions they change in different times of the year. So what happens during the spring season, when conditions are favorable, xylem elements they are produced in larger number, and the xylem vessel they have wider lumen. Okay. So as a result, the wood formed during the spring season is lighter in color and is less dense. On the other hand, in autumn season, because of unfavorable condition, a lower number of xylem elements are produced and xylem vessels they are narrower. So what happens? The wood which is produced during autumn is darker in color and is more dense. So what we can see, we observe that when you will look at the transverse section of a mature stem, or you will look at a block of wood, okay, you will find alternate dark and light colored bands, and these bands are because of autumn wood and spring wood. Okay, so darker band is formed from autumn wood and lighter bands they are formed from spring wood. So a pair of spring wood and autumn wood, it makes an annual ring. The number of annual rings in a mature stem can give a rough estimate of the age of the tree. Moreover, another point worth noticing here is that the central portion of the mature stem is much darker in color compared to the peripheral portion. Okay, and this happens because now there are two kinds of wood apart from these spring wood and autumn wood, and these are called heartwood and sapwood. Okay, so let us first recap the difference between spring wood and autumn wood. In case of spring wood, large number of xylem elements are formed. Xylem vessels they have wider cavities. The wood is lighter in color and it has a lower density. In case of autumn wood, fewer number of xylem vessels are formed. Xylem vessels they have narrower cavity. The wood is darker in color and it has higher density. Now, what is the difference between heartwood and sapwood? In old trees, a greater part of secondary xylem is dark brown in color, and the dark brown color comes because of deposition of various substances like tannins, resins, oils, gums, aromatic substances, essential oils. Okay, so this is the transverse section. The central portion is pith. This is heartwood. This is sapwood. And because of this deposition of various substances, the heartwood is hard, durable, and it is resistant to microbes and pests. The heartwood is composed of dead elements, and the cell walls they are highly lignified, and because of this, the heartwood it does not conduct water and minerals. Now let us see what happens in sapwood. It is the peripheral region of secondary xylem, so remaining xylem they fall in the sapwood portion. This is light in color and this conducts water. So this is not as durable or as hard as heartwood. Okay, so that is all about the difference between heartwood and sapwood. Cork cambium. Once the secondary growth takes place, the diameter of the stem it increases manifold. And what happens after that? The epidermis, it is no longer in a position to take all the pressure of formation of newer and newer tissues. So a time comes when the plant has to make a new layer of epidermis, and to do this, cork cambium is formed. Cork cambium is formed from cortex, and it starts dividing and giving off newer cells. So it produces cork towards the periphery and secondary cortex towards the pith or towards the center. So cork cambium is called phelogen, cork is called phloem, and secondary cortex is called pheloderm. And phloem, phelogen and pheloderm put together they are called bark. Okay, bark is a non-technical term. All the tissues exterior to vascular cambium, they are part of bark. So bark includes cork, cork cambium, secondary cortex, and even secondary phloem, or you can say phloem, phloem, phloderm, and secondary phloem. Okay. The cell walls of cork, they have deposition of suberin, and because of suberin, the cork is impervious to water or waterproof. Now, what happens when the cork is formed? There are ruptures in the epidermis. So, because of this rupture, many lens-shaped openings they are formed in the epidermis, and these openings they are called lenticels. Lenticels facilitate exchange of gases in mature stem. Now, the commercial cork is made from a particular plant, and that plant is called cork oak. The biological name of cork oak is Quercus suber, and this suber has come from suberin. That's all for this lesson. Thank you.